Welcome back, everyone. We're here with part 2 of our Cabral HouseCalls. Thank you so much, as always, for joining the show. Appreciate you. Wouldn't be able to do it without you. Now, today we are going to be getting into 6 more of our community's questions. And these ones are coming in from March 29th, it looks like. I just opened up the big Word document from my team. So these are coming in. They're going to be finishing up March questions. Well, actually, not quite. As I scroll through, we've got quite a few questions. Wow. Just on the 30th, 31st, we had about 15 questions come in. So as you can see, the more and more questions come in, we just get backlogged a bit. But what I would say is this. The first thing I would do is whenever you have a question, simply search for it at stephencabral.com/podcast. Just check out the search box. The second thing I would do is I would ask it at cabralsupportgroup.com. And Michelle and the other team members are great at being able to find you those answers. And then if you still have a question, do feel free to ask it at stephencabral.com/askcabral. And I'm always happy to answer them. I really am. But, I just don't want you to always have to wait the 8 weeks to 10 weeks that it might take for me to answer your question live on the show. So, but if you don't mind, certainly it is going to be answered live. We're about 9 weeks or so behind. And it looks like we're going to start to be 10 weeks or so very, very soon from the volume of questions that have been asked. But again, I'll always answer your questions. I really will. I just want to make sure you get those answers. And if you want same day answers, just use the search box and also ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. All right, let's dive into it. First question from Patty. Let's see what Patty's saying. Thank you, Dr. Cabral, for all that you do. My husband started doing the 7-day detox quarterly. He uses the daily nutritional support and Equalife supplements for about 9 months. He can feel the inflammation decrease after the detox. He had symptoms of gallbladder issues and had medical tests 2 years ago, and everything was fine. When the 3 months is nearing to an end and his next detox is approaching, he gets those symptoms again. Should he do the CBO protocol or a lab? If so, which one? Thank you. Okay, Patty, happy to answer this. So this is pretty interesting. And again, I love the short, concise questions because then I'm able to just be able to give you direct feedback. Again, I have to give the disclaimer, no medical advice, no medical treatment plans, no medical cures can be provided on this podcast or really any podcast, but certainly from someone that is not a medical doctor. Okay. So I practice integrative health. I'm a board certified doctor of naturopathy. That does not allow me to give medical advice, nor would I. All right. So let's get into it. So the bottom line is this, that your husband starts to feel better after he does a functional medicine detox, like the Equalife detox. Great. I would do the 21-day in my humble opinion. But it doesn't seem to stick after that. So, or he's doing pretty well, but he's on those supplements, but it starts to get just a little bit worse. My hunch is that there is a digestive issue. My hunch is that there are food sensitivities. I would absolutely run the Big 5. Like, not even a shadow of a doubt would I run that. Now, let's say you can't afford the Big 5. Totally understand. Let me give you my order of importance for what may be going on behind the scenes. First lab, Candida metabolic and vitamins test. Run it with the minerals and metals test. That's the starter kit. You'll save money even if you just do those two. All right. Next up, run the IgG food sensitivity test. This could be a big one for you as well. All right. After that, if he's not using omega-3s and he wants to prove to himself that he probably needs some omega-3s, run the inflammation omega-3 test. And then the last one is the stress, mood, and metabolism. Certainly I'd run that. I mean, it's an amazing test, especially if you're over the age of like 35 years old. I would run that. So those are the Big 5 and just put them in order of importance. Hopefully that's helpful. And if you find out there's issues with the gut, yes, then you'll begin the CBO protocol. All right. So Marion is up next. I'd like to know what the best probiotics brand is to lose the most weight. Okay. It's an interesting question. I've done a podcast on bacteria that helps humans lose more weight. The interesting thing is this, though. I would never recommend a probiotic as the first place to go to lose weight. It's so inefficient. It really is. Because if your gut is balanced in general, then you're going to be good. I would definitely recommend taking a daily probiotic support. The one I use is at stephencabral.com/shop. You can just literally search daily probiotic support. You'll find it. But Marion, what I would do is this. I would do a 21-day functional medicine detox followed by the fat lossity system. That's exactly what I would do. And like, if you look at it, it's not a lot. It's not a big investment. It's really not. So, and the reason I say that is that the detox, it's not going to cost you more than a week of eating food. It's really not. Like, you're going to eat your lunch and dinner, but 2 days you're not because you're covered by shakes. Then you're not going to have to spend any money on breakfast. It's literally not. I mean, just trying to help people justify it because that's how I do things. And then the other part is that with Fatlocity, you're looking at like not even $3 a day. Right. So like, it's not a huge investment. I would use the daily nutritional support shake in the morning with it. So, maybe that's $2. So for $5 a day, like skip the fancy Starbucks coffee, you've got a great weight loss system in place because you don't want a product, you want a system, in my opinion. And so that's what I would do, Marion. And then if you continue to struggle with weight, I would really look at the Big 5 Labs, and if not, the starter kit plus the stress, mood, and metabolism. All right. So that's what I would do. Hopefully that answers your question. Mariah is up next. Thank you and your team. And the reason why I say that is that weight loss is not just about like the bacteria in your gut. Like, it's not the only thing. That's too, and this is not meant in any condescending way. That's too surface area silver bullet approach, and that's not how you rebalance the metabolism. You rebalance the metabolism through rebalancing cortisol, thyroid, sleep, thermogenesis, and yes, overall gut health is a big part of it. Overall inflammation and glucose. Yes. So there we go. And all of those are, by the way, tested on the stress, mood, and metabolism. All right, Mariah's up. Mariah says, thank you and your team for everything you do to make the world a healthier one. Thanks, Mariah. That is exactly what we're trying to do. Every time I lay down, I get a lot of bloating, very hard distension. Then when I get up, I feel the pain on my upper abdomen, which takes a few hours to subside again. But these two symptoms happen every time I lay down and get up. Nothing showed up in an endoscopy. My osteopath says I might have mild hypermobility, and she thinks this is a contributing factor to my bloating. Any suggestions? This is a tough one because it's not related to food. I'm assuming it's not related to food. So let's take food completely out of the equation. Basically, Mariah, what I'm asking you, I'm assuming that you may get up in the morning, okay? You haven't eaten, let's say, for 2 hours, and you lie back down. So if you haven't eaten in the morning and you lie back down and this happens, that's a totally different story. And that is most likely and I would talk with your osteopath or chiropractor about what's going on with the actual movements of your internal organs, your intestines, your stomach, because that's where my head's going right now. Because I see no other reason why when you lie down, you would get bloating if you have nothing in your stomach. Now, different story if you've already had water or you've already eaten. Totally different story. Because then what can happen is your stomach, and I wish I had my little buddy right up there. You can see him, Walter. So my daughters, they have their name for theirs because I bought them one of them as well, and his name's Hank. So if you've gone through the IHP health coaching certification, you know what I'm talking about. But so what I'm gonna share with you is this. So your food and water move through the fundus, like this top part of the stomach, down to the bottom of the part of the stomach, more of what's called the gastric part of the stomach. And when you lie down, it could actually get pushed back up to the fundus, which could cause bloating. That's possible. That's definitely possible. So if it's the first, then you obviously want to work with your osteopath. If it's the latter, then it'd be more of a digestion issue. I would certainly take 2 to 3 daily digestive enzymes with the meal. You might want to look at gastric emptying, which might mean you need a little bit more betaine HCl. You may also need to have simpler meals for right now and work on your overall digestive strength. And I have lots of free podcasts on that as well. All right. The free podcast for digestion are at stephencabral.com/podcast. And you can scroll through the top for digestion. All right. Leah is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I try to live an overall healthy lifestyle. I eat, exercise, sleep, meditate, etc. in the most optimal way that I can. The problem is I love my wireless headphones, which I know isn't great, especially the number of hours I wear them per day. While I know the radiation is bad, the convenience is so beneficial. Are there any tips that could help minimize the effects of the potential damage? Thank you so much. So back here, and what I want to share with you is this. I did a podcast on wireless headphones, and I shared with you that it's not just the EMFs, that's the electrical magnetic frequencies, okay? So it's also the radiation. And when you have headphones that connect from one to the other, they're actually sending a signal from one ear through your skull and brain to the other actual AirPod. So just keep that in mind, that it's not just about deflecting the EMFs, which, by the way, there are some mild to moderately effective wraps that you can put around those headphones to deflect some of the EMFs. But that's not the real risk. The real risk is actually those magnetic radiation frequencies that are actually moving from one headphone to the other. So I don't think that there's anything that you can do that I know of yet. But the issue is the connectivity of both of those headphones. Maybe if you didn't put them both in, you were just using one, I'm not sure that that's much better, that it wouldn't be sending the signal from one earbud all the way into the other. But in general, this is not a good thing. So I cannot give you any recommendations except to wear them as little as you can. And ideally wear ear tubes for headphones, or just the wired headphones, which I still use myself. Yes, I'd love to be wearing wireless headphones just like many, many other people. But the truth is I'm just not willing to pay the potential price, right? Because we never know who it's going to be that ends up with those health-based issues from that radiation. All right. Thank you for the question. Kara's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. A few weeks ago, my daughter and I got a stomach bug. It was a few hours of vomiting and then just no appetite for and rest for about 3 days. Some stomach cramping during recovery. However, I'm curious about the vomit. After emptying of food in my stomach, the bile that came out was a browner color. My daughter's bile was a regular green-yellow. I know that you can't give medical advice, but if you had no other stomach pains, acid reflux or anything, would you be worried about the bile being brown? When I looked this up, it said it could be blood or blocked intestine. The problem is going to even a functional medicine doctor would require multiple visits, and going to a GI medical doctor. I'm an IHP too, and I have not been to a functional medicine doctor in almost 3 years. Just curious what you would do in this situation. Thank you, Dr. Cabral. Okay, so it's a great question. Just want to reiterate that I'm not providing medical advice here on the podcast or any type of medical diagnosis. So if it were me and this happened to me, and yes, you'd be looking more for that green-yellow colored bile, this could simply be that you vomited to a stronger and more violent of a level, and you actually brought up a little bit of blood as well. And when mixed, that would be brown. That would be my inclination as to what this was. And it looks like you already looked that up and found that to be the same answer. So off the top of my head, that would be my answer. If I felt no other issues and I had no issues and I was using on something like that, if I got a stomach bug, I'd certainly be using the Clean Gut Probiotic. At the very least, the daily probiotic support for at least 30 days for you and your daughter. And, I might even think about using the healthy gut support. So that's what I would do myself. If I felt that there was a greater need to go, then of course, then I could have additional tests done. A functional medicine doctor, not going to do anything particularly, because there's really they can't do except do an intake, and that's it, right? But if you went to a gastroenterologist, the GI that you spoke about, they could then send a camera down and actually look. So if you're ever worried, then certainly you could contact your PCP, and then you'd ask for a referral to a gastro, and they'd be able to help. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. Kara's up again, and it looks like she's up last for today. Kara says, hi again. I've owned a popular stainless steel gravity filter for 5 years. However, for the second time, I've noticed rust in the bottom of the chamber. They say that it comes off with 50-50 vinegar water wash. It is just mineral buildup. It didn't come off after this process. I've noticed that the stainless steel spout has had some rust in it too. I'm wondering if this is why I had a metallic taste in my mouth during my last functional medicine detox. Maybe a coincidence. What would you be concerned of if you knew that your daughters, mine is 6, had been drinking water that was in contact with potential rust? Thank you. Trying not to lose my mind in this situation. Also, have you finished reviewing another water filtration option? Okay. Yeah, I know exactly the one that you're talking about as well. And I think they are amazing. And mine are at least 5 years old. I haven't had any rust, but that doesn't mean that rust can't happen. It definitely can. Rust is going to happen where there's a seam, like a folded seam, and it seems like yours is definitely near like the spout as well. So, in this case, you could absolutely like take some steel wool and sand it down, wash it down, not technically sand it, right? But you rub it down and get rid of that. For sure, you could do that. Or you could replace, obviously, your water filter. And maybe they'll even give you a discount because there was some rust or something, and they have a really good guarantee. So what would I do, though, if that rust was entering my body? Well, look at what rust is essentially those additional metals that entered my body that are oxidized. So what can I do? Well, I can provide more antioxidants, and I can also maybe, I don't think that I would go overboard. Here's why. When those free radicals, those extra metals are taken into your body. That's why we can't just do things once in a while. We need to do them every day. If you were using daily fruit and vegetable blend, or your daughters were eating some good fruits and veggies every day, you're getting some good antioxidants. And also the daily fruit and vegetable blend serves as a mild metal detoxifier on a daily basis. We don't talk about it often, but if you look at the very first part of the ingredient panel and it's loaded with greens, nobody else has 9+ grams of greens in their product. They don't. They have 9+ grams because they add all sorts of different like fillers and grasses and all sorts of different things. Anyway, when you look at it, you'll see chlorella, you'll see spirulina, you'll see moringa, just great products. So that's what I would do. Again, fruits and veggies, good antioxidants on a daily basis. If you feel like you need to do the heavy metal detox, certainly do the 6-week heavy metal detox. You can base it for a child as well. You just do a little lighter dosage. And I think that you're good overall. I wouldn't be, in my opinion, for me, my family, I wouldn't be overly concerned. You're doing, I know how much you do, and I know that you're doing a lot of great things on a daily basis. So I would personally just would not be overly concerned. And but I wouldn't keep drinking, obviously, from anything with rust. And like some of the mason jars that we have, we obviously, whatever we purchase in them, that we reuse those mason jars, and the lids sometimes get rusty. Okay, we try to wash those out, clean them out. If they're breaking down, we just toss them. That's it. Just literally toss them. It's not worth it. So if you can get 5 years out of a water filter, fantastic, right? Usually they last much longer. The water filters just need to be changed about every 6 months. So I am getting close to reviewing another water filter. It's an easy one at home. And this one would be reverse osmosis that goes right in your countertop, and it's pretty small as well, much smaller than the stainless steel one that you're talking about too. They're both great. I always will have a Berkey, and the reason I said the name of the company. I don't know if it's the name of that company, so forgive me if it's not. I will always have, though, a stainless steel Berkey water filter, I will say. And the reason is that if you ever lose power, guess what? You lose the ability to run a lot of these reverse osmosis filters. So I always want to have the ability to filter water if, for whatever reason, there was an electrical outage for a couple days and I needed to use tap water and it wasn't purified water. I just run it right through my Berkey. So all my water filters that I currently recommend, including some different forms and things like that, are at stephencabral.com/resources. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have an amazing rest of your weekend. And I'll be back tomorrow with our Motivation and Mindset Monday.